G'day and welcome to The Tackle. I'm Joel Gelding. With me as ever is the former Fremantle captain, Shaun McManus. Good to have you here, mate.
Good on you, Joel. Ready for the season proper, as they say. Finals just on our doorstep.
Well, if your team's playing in it, I suppose. It's fun to watch, isn't it? It is the final round of the home and away season we saw over the weekend. And it didn't leave us sort of disappointed, did it? We started off with a blockbuster on Friday night with Hawthorn and Sydney, and all of a sudden the Swans sort of broke out. It looked like they were going to dominate for the game, but then the Hawks came back.
Yeah, they did, like a champion team. I guess Sydney looked like they were going to steal it for a second there. I guess the talking point mostly out of the game is the fact that Buddy Franklin, on report, we'll find out later today if he's been cited by the match review panel for that bump on Nick Malchevsky.
You've seen it. We've all seen it. It's been replayed pretty much every day, 100 times since it happened on Friday night. What do you make of it?
I think he's a taller opponent. He's gone in to certainly bump him, so his intention was to bump. I'm fine with that. Modern day footy has gone so soft, I'm sure you'd agree. He's taller than the guy, so in the end, his elbow's in, which is important, but he makes higher contact. Basically, he's a foot taller. It brushes up,
doesn't it? It does go up in the middle.
It was more so his shoulder part, but I think there's nothing in it, to be perfectly honest. I don't go for Hawthorn, but he should be playing on the weekend. Most people think he'll get suspended. What do you think?
Maybe a week, I don't know. I mean, they seem to like... if he doesn't get injured, if he doesn't go off with a head injury or doesn't miss a game, then normally the match review panel is a lot nicer on him. So I think he's got him working in that favour.
Sure.
But we want to see Lance Franklin playing, like you said, even if you don't go for Hawthorn. But another belter of a game was Geelong and Brisbane, I thought. Brisbane were playing for a final spot, let's not forget. And they were down in Geelong, very hard place to win, and they deserved to win it in those final moments.
They did in the final moments. Bear in mind that Geelong had a lot more scoring shots, particularly in the third quarter when they absolutely just peppered the goals. Brisbane were able to counter-attack, counter-punch all the time and score a goal at the right time before it got to the end, when all of a sudden the momentum come their way and Geelong started to panic. You see them freeze up, and Brisbane were making all the play. 1 point, can you believe it?
Well, I think the umpire might have wet himself a little bit there and got a bit too scared to call a holding the ball, because we saw Paul Chapman dive on the footy, dove on it, and then just stuck his arms up in the air and went, I don't know what to do. And then he was pinned on the ball. So Brisbane should have won. Well, they almost did after that with a snapshot that was touched on the line to lose by a point. But there's really no other game we can talk about after that, because I thought we'd sort of morphed them all into one. If Carlton hadn't won against Port Adelaide by a point, we saw North Melbourne win by a lot, we saw the Adelaide Crows win by a lot, and we could have seen really almost three other teams sneak into that final spot in the finals.
Yeah, it got really tight there, but how can you think that when Carlton have disappointed you so much throughout the season, and to see them getting done quite comfortably against Port Adelaide is to be expected at times? You're thinking, there they go again, the old blue baggers, and then they came back and won by a bloody point.
There's Port Adelaide supporters who have actually text messaged me and Facebooked me saying, we lost that on purpose just to piss you Crows supporters off. And I think they're probably right. I think in the final minutes, Port just went, you know what, we're playing finals. We'd rather Blues get in there than the Crows. But it does mean, we can talk about this all we want. The Crows winning by 85 against West Coast. Too little, too late. Same as North Melbourne beating Collingwood in the final round of the season. We're not playing finals. We don't deserve to be there. And I don't really want to get 8th spot because Essendon got kicked out if I'm a Crow supporter.
No, really good point there. And I'm sick of hearing North Melbourne's team as the best as the best team that are outside the final. They're finished in 10th position.
Yeah.
Okay? And if they're good enough, they would have won games earlier during the year. Now, Ross Lyon always bangs on about the season. It is a marathon. You've got to win games the whole way through. There's no point turning up at the halfway mark and deciding you're going to win games. It's about the season from the get-go, round 1 to round 22. And those teams weren't good enough at the time.
And just
I've got to say, I'd like to stick up for Adelaide here for a second, though. Lost a lot with Tippett leaving.
Walker.
Big Tex Walker doing his knee earlier on. That's some massive outs for them, and to get along, in particular on Saturday night, to smash the Eagles like they did. Well done.
I like what you're saying. Crows minor premiers next year. Good work, Shawnee.
Is that what I was saying?
I think so. We also have some footage of you writing off Carlton last week.
Carlton, you suck.
And they've won by a point. So you're a former Carlton supporter and you said they suck and have come up to bite you in the arse on that one.
They still suck. Carlton, you suck.
This week we have got week 1 of the finals football. How could you not be excited about this? Even if your team isn't playing, we have got some awesome games lined up. We've got round 2 of Sydney and Hawthorn. This is going to be a good one to start started off with.
Back-to-back games and the grand finalists from last year. Geez, they'll probably be a little bored playing each other after playing last week at ANZ Stadium, but it is going to be a cracker. No doubt a close one. Particularly, we'll see what happens with Buddy, but it should be a ripper there. I'm going for Hawthorn. Got to at the MCG.
They get Hanbury and Tippett back in. I'm going for Hawthorn as well. Let's go to Geelong and the Dockers. We've got a lot to say about this game because the Dockers obviously get a lot back in. They dropped 50 players, I think, over the weekend. Mm-hmm. But you're going down to Cardinia Park or whatever the name of the stadium is. We always forget this, but what are your thoughts on this, Shawnee?
Oh, really bad call by the AFL. You got to make it fair across the board, but because you say, okay, well, if it's good enough for Fremantle, it's good enough for the rest of the comp. That is completely the other way around as how they've played it. It's not good enough for the rest of the comp, but good enough for Fremantle. And I reckon that's absolutely rubbish. Therefore, Fremantle will make a statement when they beat Geelong down there, and then they'll come back to play in the preliminary final in 2 weeks' time.
It does seem a little strange they're going down there to play at a stadium that fits 30,000 and they're not doing it. It's a qualifying match. Do it at the G.
Never ever been done in the history. They've never played a final down in Geelong.
Conspiracy. I like what you're saying. Let's go along to Collingwood and Port Adelaide. I think it's fair to say, although Collingwood didn't play that well on the weekend. Can you write off Port Adelaide, or can they get into round 2 of the finals?
No, I like to think that we can write off Port Adelaide. They had an easy run this year. Let's face it, they played all the bottom teams twice. That's the reason why they're in the top 8 at the moment. We all understand that, and they'll get done. So happy to write them off. Good year, though. No problem with that.
Oh, you really made up for that sledging there. So Collingwood in that one. Richmond and Carlton. The Richmond fans have been waiting 12 years. Just think about what you were doing 12 years ago. That's how long Richmond have been waiting for their team to get back in the finals. And if they do not play well against Carlton, there may just be a riot.
I'm 100% behind you. They reckon there's going to be over 90,000 people at this game. This will be unbelievable. Richmond for me.
Yeah, I'll tip the Tigers as well. I actually want them to win as well.
I don't, but I'm tipping them.
All right, let's move on to Dream Team results from the weekend, mate. We saw St Kilda flog Fremantle because, as we said, you rested your whole team. But what we did see is a few little nice highlights from some St Kilda fans to watch. We saw Kazitsky retire. And Montagna got 47 touches, which got him to the top of the Dream Team.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one because Jack Stevens was the same. Funnily enough, Ryan Crowley in previous games has played on both those guys. Ryan Crowley just played in the midfield as he did. He got 28. They got 47 apiece. That's like having 4 extra guys on the field. So it looked that way, didn't it?
It did. So you're saying we should drop Ryan Crowley for the finals? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think maybe they should...
man up, Krause.
Man up, there you go. He'll do that in the finals. No worries there, Krause.
That's it for Dream Team. And finals, of course, this weekend, which means we cannot wait to watch. And hopefully Fremantle will get an upset in Geelong. But I don't like your chances. Sorry, Shawnee.
Fair call.
We'll see you next week. Nova.